It was supposed to be a beautiful day. Kids should have been playing in the park.
And here we see a kid's baseball glove.
And we also have a bat and ball and some other things laying in, and we can fill out the frame. Thanks.
Husbands should have been doing their chores.
I'm really going to impale him today.
Women should have been tending their flowers. But at 2:26 that afternoon, a tornado came to Wisteria Lane, bringing with it unbelievable destruction. No one could have anticipated it, especially given how the day started.
Action!
The idea for the tornado episode was really born out of a desperation on my part to have a big event in Sweeps.
We had heard rumors from early on into the season 4 that Mark wanted to do something dramatically different in the season.
This episode is a little outside the normal Desperate Housewives episode.
My first idea, which I'm so glad I didn't do, was a flood. And, you know, it's much easier to get a wind machine than it is to, you know, put 5 million gallons of water on Wisteria Lane.
Heard the news? A tornado just hit Mount Pleasant, and they think we could get one too.
It was probably the most expensive episode of Desperate Housewives we've ever done, and the most technically complicated.
It's a big endeavor for us. A lot of visual effects which are done digitally and special effects which are done in production.
In a feature, you would have months of preparation. Many, you know, and you'd have one script. You would start with the finished text.
We've had production meetings where they probably had 20 pages rewritten by the next day.
I'm trying to cut out some words here. Go so, period.
So everyone has to be kind of surfing and flexible and going with the changes.
I try to give them as much help as I can, but they also realize, you know, it's just constantly evolving process.
And this was just a monster.
And the fact that the network said, yeah, go ahead, destroy, you know, Wisteria Lane is very cool. It just shows that they have great faith in our show and our ability to do something different and new. And I think it was really a great idea.
We have had meetings, creative meetings, where we have a basic concept of what the creative department wants to see and the writers want to see, and Mark Cherry in particular.
I was having to make decisions about, you know, what would be destroyed, you know, weeks in advance of writing the script.
We've hired a storyboard artist who's starting to conceptualize the visuals that we can use and create our visual effects from.
A wonderful illustrator, storyboard artist who came in and worked with us to conceive ideas that we would pitch back to the writers.
What really the episode is about is the personal stories that are happening. The tornado is just a backdrop. And as I recall, we had 3 of the stories down pretty well.
Oh, crap!
When I first came up with the idea of doing the tornado episode, I knew that my last image would be Lynette coming out of her house and seeing the destruction of Mrs. McCluskey's house and just screaming.
It's hard to imagine you walk out your door and the home, the house that your entire family is in, is leveled.
And I actually told all my writers that image, and I said, let's work backwards from here, because I thought it would be a terrific cliffhanger moment. And I also knew that Felicity would act the hell out of it, which she did.
I didn't warm up my voice before that, which was a mistake, because I thought, I can do it. Of course I can scream. And little did I realize that I'd be screaming for 10 takes of different angles.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God!
It feels like the tornado is absolutely overhead. Barbecues are falling out of the sky, and then we have pages of stuff that where it's not touching down yet.
That was particularly glaring, I thought, when the with the McCluskey Lynette thing, and then you just cut to them and outside the bathroom door. Sylvia?
Yeah.
You.
I need you to come out here, okay?
Adam, is that you, darling?
Don't call him that.
We've reboarded it like 7 times, and every time you move the scene, like, and then you push another scene back.
But that was one that seemed too casual.
I think you're right, but there are like 5 scenes that need to hit their peak at the same time, and it's just there's gonna be a little I think we're just gonna have to buy that we're jumping around in time a little bit.
I go to work every day. I help out around the house. I take care of you and Julie. What's the problem?
What's the problem? Let's see. You lied to me.
Now, Terry's point, which I thought was an interesting one, was she said, am I overreacting in that scene where I'm talking to him?
You lied to me some more. And then I find out that you hit up my best friend's husband for more pills.
I think this is not the first time. I think you start straight away with a lie.
But are you going to have her complain about lying again? Because this part is where she says, you're kind of yelling at me. That's new. I like that line.
I like that too.
You're blowing this out of proportion.
And you're kind of yelling at me. Also a problem.
And Alex, you know, your team's going to go take a look at that. So I'm going to try to keep discerning all the...
Well, I think that's where the baby comes in. Is the stakes is like, if we're gonna raise a baby together, I have to know that I can trust you. And right now I can't trust you.
You might think you have things under control, but they're only going to get worse. And with a baby on the way.
All right, why don't you guys go out and just take a shot at this?
Yeah, we have a pretty good. She has a pretty good argument now. I think.
Yeah.
Every episode has a production meeting where we kind of go through the script and all the department heads are there, and we just talk about what's needed.
The person who is in command on the set obviously is the director, but the person who is his lieutenant and who makes sure that everything is executed and everybody is where they need to be, and the people are there, the cameras are there, everybody is where the director needs them to be at any given time is the assistant director, and that was Tom Irvine on the show. And so he runs the production meeting.
Okay, and then N2, the wind destroys Catherine's mailbox.
It's a CGI.
This is a CGI shot.
Wherever there is a question, whether it's from the art department or transportation or from post, we bring up those questions.
I'm
sorry, Tom, on the mailbox?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do it, we can pull it completely, the post and everything.
Yes, you're gonna do the post. So let's
Post, do everything, yeah.
Should we be leaving the post in or taking it out?
Take it out.
So we'll take it.
But have it there for us to size it as a reference, and we'll yank it out of the shot.
Normally for Desperate Housewives, we shoot for 8 days, and we have a 9th day of second unit. This particular episode, because of the complexity, was longer. We had 2 days of VistaVision shots, those large panoramic shots, and then I believe it was it 10 days after that? 10 days after that, so it was a longer process. There's just so much to shoot.
The first thing we did was really do a map of the street and plot out the course of the storm.
The question at one of the meetings was,
You're
can you do this? And looked at us and said, can you do this? You know, you look and you say, yes, yes you can. And then you figure out how to do it.
You want to make a good story and tell a compelling story, but in doing that you have to remain flexible at all times, and that's hard when you're doing 16-hour days and trying to figure out how best to manage your resources.
The challenges of this episode came with the physical size of it, and it came with, strangely enough, with the sounds. When we were working with a lot of our wind machines, some of them were able to go up to 100 to 118 miles per hour.
Just so everybody gets a handle on it, we've categorized our wind 1 through 4, 1 being the lightest.
Roll in. 37.
It will be on the call sheet. It'll also be on the shooting schedule to what mile and hours of winds we'll be working with. We'll have eye and ear protection provided by props.
The fans that we used were extremely loud and just blew away the dialogue.
Sorry, could you say that again? I don't think I heard you right.
You spend a day in that environment, and it gets a little trying.
Hair. Big problem with the hair. Just because it was blowing so much. I think I had a scene outside with Sylvia, Adams, Paramore, and I had to spit at her. And the wind was blowing so much, the spit came back in my face.
I mean, aside from there being wind, then you had to go sort of loop over them. I didn't have it too bad, but I know that, like Eva and I think Nicolette had a lot to loop. And so it was, it definitely had new technical difficulties.
The thing that I really loved about the tornado was it was a great workout. We had airplane engines that were the wind blowing, and they were so strong that it was sort of like one of those lap pools that you swim into that jet.
It was really scary. It was really
real. I mean, it was so funny because Nicolette and I had all the scenes to do, and the wind and the hair and the wardrobe and everything was just all as if we were in a tornado.
You gotta get inside now! He's right there! Damn it! I'm not gonna let you die, so don't make me drag you!
We ended up coming down to a core number of experiences which are all character driven, and you see the characters in jeopardy.
The McCluskey-Lynette scene, as the storm builds, because they can't go back to the McCluskey's house, they go for the nearest safety, and they go to the bathroom and get into the tub.
I kept going, is that really what people do? They climb into their bathtubs? And they said yes.
We basically prepared that set and found a tree with a root ball on it that the set special effects rigged to crash through the window for 3 takes. So we had 3 different windows, and the tree kept coming through on a cable, and it worked quite well.
Bring her in, and then stay with her as she's lifting this.
The way the scene is now in the film, it's split up, but the original film scene itself was just as the mattress comes down, the tree breaks through.
That was hard. That mattress that we covered the bathtub with was seriously heavy, and you want to do it fast.
And actually the timing was brilliant on the actors' part, because there were a couple of takes where they just got in the tub before that tree came flying through the window.
Can we pull this back so I get the cast out, please?
What you don't see on the other side of the wall is 5 guys with a tree on a rope and pushing it, and as the tree goes through, they what they call trip a line, which means they release the safety cable, and so the tree can fall.
We had a separate tub that was cut away on the side so we could shoot inside them reacting to the storm.
I was close to Catherine in a whole new way after that bathtub episode.
And we did it, I think we did it 3 times, mainly for me.
The fight between Victor and Carlos was another thing that we had planned for a while. We had a meeting with the stuntmen and the special effects guys, I think a full week before, where they started choreographing it.
We choreographed everything with the stunt doubles, and this morning to show the producers.
Bam, they look at each other.
You almost want something where Carlos has knocked him out. You know, he's busy trying to punch a window in there, and you just see, Victor pick up like a shovel or something that's laying there, and he's about to go for him, and then all of a sudden he gets the picket in. Like Carlos is feeling trapped or screwed.
Then we will take the actors and step by step teach them every punch, every kick, every fall. We have a fight that breaks out in even Carlos's house. Victor fires off a couple shots, and Carlos comes around, hides behind the Jaguar, grabs Victor, another shot goes off, and the fight begins, all during the wind and the tornado, car falling, debris flying, and at the end, the pickets will be flying off of the fence, and Victor gets killed and impaled with one of the pickets.
And the thing that's great is our actors work with the stuntmen, you know, and come up with ideas. The stuntmen give ideas to the actors give ideas to the stuntmen, because all 4 of them, in that case, are doing the fight together.
When I block that punch, I'll load up too so you can see.
Carlos and John, who plays Victor, they will go for it. I love these people. They make my job so easy.
It's a blast, you know. It also depends on who you're doing it with, and he's great, you know. So it's easy, you know, somebody who knows how to take a punch and throw a punch.
I like to try and do as many of my stunts as possible, and I think John feels the same way.
Just sort of watch what these guys do, and then try it, rehearse it, and then turn on the fans and try it, and then just shoot it, see what happens. It's amazing how strong those big gray fans are. It's hard to stand up.
To have them do 2 things, acting and stunts, is very difficult on them. But trust me, these people will pull it off. They're the best I've ever seen.
We've got some great stunt people working on this, and the guy that doubles me, Rocky, he's amazing.
There they are. Uh-oh, looks like I'm getting the worst of it.
We're rolling all over each other, and it's a lot of man hugging and man love.
anytime you see action sequences, especially with wind and cars dropping, and it becomes this technically very complicated thing. And it always makes me just marvel at the shows that do that kind of thing all the time, because mostly I just have women sitting around a kitchen table talking about adultery, and that's just so much easier.
We also did something that we haven't done because we haven't had to do it before, and that is we shot the show up to a certain point, which was through all of the shots of the tornado hitting. Then we broke for 3 days to rebuild the street.
Who would have thunk that, we worked so hard to maintain perfection on Wisteria Lane that with great abandon and almost glee, we would, systematically trash it. And we did.
Perfect. That street was trashed by our art department. McCluskey's house was taken down.
There was a great joy in our hearts for tearing apart McCluskey's house because it's really a crappy house. It's the Kali the Destroyer just comes out of your soul, and all of a sudden everyone's into it. Yeah, tear it apart, make it rubble. We did a lot of recycling. We've been good stewards on this episode. There was an Indiana Jones, the latest episode was they were tearing out a lot of their sets, so we took those sets off their hands and broke them into rubble.
When you walked up on that set, it just took your breath away. It gave you the chills.
I was so impressed because this show really goes all out when it does something, and the fact that the whole street was destroyed was unbelievable to me.
Devastation afterwards and how realistic that looked and how that made me feel and how frightened and scared and vulnerable it made me feel, and I knew it was all, make-believe, so it was a job well done.
It took your breath away, because Wisteria Lane is actually gorgeous. The tours go through here, and it's beautiful. So to see it in disarray was really, it broke my heart. I was like, oh my God, that's my street.
It was really an amazing thing to see. It was a feature-type set design. It was just amazing.
That final shot is probably the biggest one, in terms of our scope. And that was really in the art direction, in production design. We laughed when we saw it, and then people will probably think that it was done through computers. And hopefully they'll realize that, no, that's a destroyed street.
D-Mark!
D-Mark.
Obviously, the script required for the aftermath to be able to do search and rescue. So before we started to dismantle the house, we actually took a steel shipping container and inserted it inside the house, and then built a reinforced crawl space, kind of a tunnel, that the actors could get in and out of that safety space.
It was a very intense evening after the tornado, when the police had arrived and all of the damage had occurred.
And there's all the housewives behind the tape, behind the police tape, having to act that as well, which is actually more difficult when you don't have any lines.
We got someone!
As scary as it looks, and it looks real. There's no way to do a funny tornado, even when we're a comedy. So we tried to be as realistic and faithful to what the research tells us would be the natural disaster.
Dear Mrs. McCluskey, her best friend is in there, and she gets the news that she hasn't made it. And Edie takes her hand, and the shot was on their hands, but every time we shot that, and we had to shoot it quite a few times, but I had tears streaming down my face. It was a very, very intense night.
The 409 was really unique from all of our standpoints. As far as post-production is concerned, we got involved in that particular episode much earlier than we normally do.
Yeah. But obviously visualize the parking garage and the mountain gone. E-Rock's going to paint, that'll be essentially a matte painting. Anything that can be accomplished by a computer that can't be accomplished safely or economically on the set, we'll do after the fact in visual effects.
Lowell Peterson, our DP, came up with the idea of using VistaVision, and which is like this. And what we did was we took the camera, we tipped it on its side. We locked the camera and then moved the wind machines to hit all the foliage up and down the street. And then we added Felicity and Kathy to it, and they're shot on a green screen. So that enabled us to actually pull the film down and them with it. So you get the illusion that a crane has risen up. But in essence, it's a locked shot.
Okay. You've made your choice.
We originally had talked about doing this via special effects with a ratchet pull, where the character would basically be yanked out on a wire and land somewhere on the lawn. But if you see, there's a banister and an overhead porch, and it makes it a really dangerous stunt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna model the character. We'll basically scan her in 3D. We'll build her entirely with her wardrobe, matching wardrobe. The real character will open the door. We'll transition to the 3D character. And at that point, we'll whisk her out digitally up and into the tornado.
To the wind, we were adding debris because we didn't shoot with debris just for the safety of people.
So much of the episode was supposed to take place on a dark, stormy day, and it got progressively darker as things went on. And so we had a real issue with the sun. We had a huge crane brought in and a 30 by 40 foot silk that we flew above Wisteria so that the subjects that were being shot at that moment would be in shade and we could control it. The visual effects department will have to take those sunny days, put in storm clouds, and then knock down all the shadows you see on the street. You don't just put up a filter and have a dark day. Everything, literally frame by frame, is touched and made to look like a stormy day.
I've got millions of sounds, almost too many sounds.
Steve comes up with amazing ideas. He gets the show so much.
This show was kind of the biggest challenge I've had in my career.
He saw a lighter introduction into the beginning.
It was supposed to be a beautiful day. Kids should have been playing in the park.
We played that music in the first playback for Mark, and Mark said, I feel this music is too light. I feel it's too fun. I think it should be more ominous. We called Steve that day and said, we want a thinner, more of a ominous note. And he wrote a new piece of music and we put it in the next day.
In my orchestra for Desperate Housewives, there are 7 string players. Just because I want it to have an intimate sound, I want you to be able to hear each player. The fight scene with Victor and Carlos, the way it was described to me before I saw the episode was these 2 guys fight to the death. My first inclination was maybe we should get more than 7 players on this episode. This is a big episode. Maybe for the first time we'll just go crazy, get 30 string players and see what happens. I hadn't seen the episode yet, and then I saw it, and I knew immediately that would have been a bad idea.
The sound of everything from the pickets to the sound of them fighting, the sound of the fountain falling, the pipe, all of those sounds were so much a part of the design of that fight scene that the music had to back away in certain places, had to come forward, so he knew that we were going to have a very complex sound design there.
I haven't seen the tornado. I don't know what it looks like, and I don't know what it's going to sound like. And a big part of what I do is trying to fit in with the sound, me scoring things that weren't there. So you just kind of have to imagine it. That was sort of the challenge for me. Great. Nice job. 3M16.
By noon that day, a tornado watch was in effect on Wisteria Lane, and every one of its residents was preparing for the storm.
We've always said that Mary Alice is also score. She sets a tone from the top of the show, which usually brings us into the teaser, brings us into Act 1, and then comes the wonderful signature end montage where she sums up the theme of the show.
Each of them had learned something. About friendship. And forgiveness. And redemption.
There have been times when she's been brought to tears by something that has gone on, some moment in the end montage.
When I first started doing the voiceover and I was trying to find the sound, that was the one key element that I found was, speak from your heart. Because that's really, she loves these characters so much. She loves these women, they're her friends. And I think from her perspective, she just wants them to be happy.
The coolest thing for me in terms of my job and how I feel about it is that, you know, I'm just like a kid who thinks up these dreams in his bedroom, and, you know, I come to work and 150 people have to make my dreams a reality.
This show, the collaboration was just, it was just amazing, and that was what was so much fun, to work with people. We were overlapping all the time, right up to the very end, and if one person did one thing, 3 other departments had to be involved because you tilted one direction or another, and everybody responded, and it was really like being an orchestra conductor. You have all of these instruments playing in harmony, and that's what we were doing, much more than you usually have to on a series show.
It's been fun, and it's always the challenge never ends. I mean, episodic is not for the faint of heart. You know, you may think you're just doing another bedroom and a bathroom that week, and all of a sudden, the tornado hits, and you know, it sort of keeps us all wanting to come to work in the morning.
Desperate really is a family, and to be so involved in this particular episode was really terrific. This was completely different than anything we had experienced before. For me, anyway, it was an absolute treat. I loved it.
We all feel really proud of the fact that we did a very special episode of television. And, you know, it's going to be something that I think years from now, when Desperate Housewives is in reruns, you know, people sit down in their living room at 11 o'clock at night and they'll click the channel and they go, oh, it's the tornado episode. I love that one. And I know that that one's going to stand out in people's imagination for decades to come, and that makes me kind of proud.
You know, the women of Desperate Housewives, they don't call it Desperate Housewives by mistake. They work really hard, but the guys, we get to play hard.
There isn't so much pressure because it's called Desperate Housewives.
For the male ego, it has to be all about him, and it's just not.
The women are so rarely focused on in television that it's so great that the show is all women, and basically, the men are playing the chicks on this show.
They're on our arm. They're arm candy.
The guys have a pretty easy job, you know, which for some actors is a problem. Not for me.
They have the cushy schedule. They come in, they come out.
We're in that makeup chair, first of all, starting the day, getting our hair done and our makeup. Kyle's in that chair for 10 minutes, and then he's like, I'm done. And I just want to kill him.
So we guys, we get it kind of easy. We don't have to, I mean, do much.
It did. You guys are way ahead of us.
No pressure. Don't put it in the gutter.
Nice ball, Sean.
Gotta feel it out, and then I'm coming hard.
Do I have good form?
Yeah, Dracula.
Think of like Dracula, but like a girl. Ah!
The boys and balls. That's great.
I don't know what kind of neighborhood in reality would house so many beautiful women all in one spot.
Ta-da! I'm Brandy, the slutty cheerleader.
But that's where I want to live.
Left-handed, oh, this should be. So I got like right foot forward, or?
Well, you release with your right foot forward.
Oh, this will be. Oh, yeah. Oh, strike. Come on, baby. Oh, my God. Being a man on Desperate Housewives is a hell to be desired.
I just say we put down the money and the winner walks away.
Here we go.
Can I borrow $20?
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been a long ride, but it's kind of fun to throw the softballs up to Terry Hatcher.
What you doing?
Lock myself out. Naked.
And let her do her thing.
So how are you?
No man is safe on Desperate Housewives. You can be a victim of a tornado with a flying object spearing you in the back. Hi, John Slattery.
There it is. There it is. Booyah! Oh! Well, that was my second. That was my second roll. Yeah. The first one was a gutter.
You can get killed off at any point in time if it is A, dramatic, or B, funny.
Each day I come to work could be my last. It raises the stakes, you know. I'm okay.
Characters that have died. Mary Alice.
For 200.
Mary Alice.
Ida Greenberg.
Mary Alice. Ida Greenberg.
Is she dead already?
Who's your dad?
Rex Van de Camp.
Rex Van de Camp.
I tried to kill Denton.
He's trying to...
Who was the woman that was in the tree at the end of the tornado?
I think this is my.
Ooh, that was the girl that gets sucked out of...
Yes.
Oh, that was the girl you had the little diddled in a little bit?
Alma.
In the dentist chair?
You know, you cheapened it.
Huh? What?
Oh, really?
It was a special thing that happened?
Sylvia, Sophia.
Well loved by all of you, I can see.
Obviously.
Alma off the
roof. Oh, wait a minute. My ex love, my one night stand with Kirsten, the great Kirsten Warren, the actress, but the character was Nora. Yeah, I knew. Yeah. I remember her.
Ricardo and Doug and I are very fortunate to still be around.
You know what I've noticed is that each of the women on Wisteria Lane, they have different smiles. They all hide something. Yeah. And when we came on, they each developed a new smile. Right. And it's sort of that smile that you give when you smell something malodorous.
I think it's crap. Of all the gay men in the world, we have to get the two without taste.
We brought art from Finland.
From Finland.
To Wisteria.
And all I'm saying is it took an act of God to get rid of it. So they didn't do it.
ABC, act of God.
Act
get
of
rid
God.
of our beautiful fountain.
Yeah.
They were fools.
They were silly people.
It's funny because I never get on the gag reel ever.
Hey, look, I'm moving back.
And there's a mysterious family getting rid of it.
Moving into my house.
Go away. You.
I'm so happy for you guys. I swear I am
Exponentially
ecstatically.
fabulous.
Mama, you got a top steak. You got a top steakin'. It's top steak. It's not choice or prime.
We are so talented.
I am a golden god!
Halloween was pretty grim.
Yeah, it was. I was dressed in a dress. You were in heels and.
Shauna dressed as Cher.
Cher, the beloved pop diva.
Full-on sequence and.
It's early Cher.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the.
Take it from me, man. It was early Cher, yeah.
It was my mom's idea.
Mark described our characters to us as Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
I always thought I thought he meant you were Jerry until recently. I didn't. Until recently? I saw this
That's why I wasn't working.
And I went, oh, I'm Jerry.
But I knew what he meant by that, but it always seemed like it was a little bit more of a Andy Griffith and Barney Fife to me. He's a little cranky. I think someone needs his French toast.
I'm Barney Fife?
You're Barney Fife. Would you rather be Aunt Bee?
Yes. Yes.
There it is.
Good ball, Kyle.
There
Good
it
ball.
is.
There. Bring it. Get some.
Here it is.
It's a nice comeback. Looking at you, I wouldn't think to say that's a funny guy. But let him loose on set. Yeah, but inside, I'm funny inside. I'm maybe crying on the outside, but I'm funny on the inside.
What could go wrong here?
We call this the couch potato.
I like it.
Look at that! Strike! Cut away.
Strike!
It's you.
3 strikes in a row. It's called a turkey. See? It's like a hat trick.
A hat trick.
You're all over that. You're all up in that.
Can I get some of that? Word.
I got a question for you, Kyle McLaughlin of Desperate Housewives. You're gonna ask it to me like walking. A question for started on Desperate Housewives. I don't know why you talk like this. People like it. What did you think? Shoo-in, #1 show. What did you think? In the beginning.
Nathan, if I pick up this spare, you have to give me a compliment that seems genuine.
I gotcha.
Start thinking now.
It's gonna be tough.
I know, seriously. Something about his shoes, maybe. I don't know. You don't have to worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so close. So close.
We have a real competitive bunch here. I felt that was a very bonding experience. That little, teaming up, a little bit cutthroat. Some people got hurt. Totally acceptable losses.
Come on.
Cry for
One. Sean.
Shawnee. Shawnee's in the money.
The money shot.
There it goes.
Yeah, it is good to know, actually, while the women are all working, that the guys are out bowling. Did they get paid for that?